रघु जी, इंडिया में मौसम मौसम अच्छा हो गया लगता है. पीपल इन द बेड.
अच्छा, आई थिंक वो वही हुआ है, सब लोग अभी सो रहे हैं. चलो, आई गेस वी कैन स्टार्ट. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय. नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्. नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. So continuing with the discussion on Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, Prithu Maharaj's meeting with the four Kumaras, text number 40 onwards. So Sanat Kumar is further speaking to Prithu Maharaj. Krichro Mahanih Bhavarlam Aplvesham Shadvarg Nakramam Sukhenditir Shanti Tattvam Harer Bhagavato Bhajaniyam Grihin Kritvo Dupam Vyasanam Uttar Dustararanam. The ocean of nescience is very difficult to cross because it is infested with many dangerous sharks. Although those who are non-devotees undergo severe austerities and penances to cross that ocean, we recommend that you simply take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are like boats for crossing the ocean. Although the ocean is difficult to cross, by taking shelter of his lotus feet, you will overcome all dangers. Material existence is compared herein to the great ocean of nescience. Another name of this ocean is Vaitarani. In the Vaitarani ocean, which is a causal ocean, Karansagar, there are innumerable universes floating like footballs. On the other side of the ocean is a spiritual world of Vaikuntha, which is described in Bhagavad Gita as Parastasmat tu bhavo anya. Thus, there is an ever-existing spiritual nature which is beyond this material nature. Even though all the material universes are annihilated again and again in the causal ocean, the Vaikuntha planets, which are spiritual, exist eternally and are not subject to dissolution. The human form of life gives the living entity a chance to cross the ocean of nescience, which is this material universe, and enter into the spiritual sky. Although there are many methods or boats by which one can cross the ocean, the Kumaras recommend that the king take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, just as one would take shelter of a good boat. Non-devotees who do not take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet try to cross the ocean of nescience by other methods, karma, jnana, and yoga, but they have a great deal of trouble. Indeed, sometimes they become so busy simply enjoying their troubles that they never cross the ocean. There is no guarantee that the non-devotees will cross the ocean, but even though they manage to cross, they have to undergo severe austerities and penances. On the other hand, anyone who takes to the process of devotional service and has faith that the lotus feet of the Lord are safe boats to cross that ocean is certain to cross very easily and comfortably. So this causal ocean of Vaitarani or Bhavasagar, it's a huge ocean. Even literally, it's a huge ocean. So how to cross? So best way is by the Kumara, Sanat Kumar is telling Prithu Maharaj that you take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Otherwise, there are so many sharks. In the shloka it is said it is infested with many dangerous sharks. Why the sharks? Sharks are fishes which if they grab you, they'll kill you and drown you in the ocean. So these karma, jnana, yoga, and everything else is like dangerous sharks. Don't get into the jaws of those sharks. Just take shelter of the lotus feet. And the lotus feet of the Lord, although they are compared to boat here, but also it is said, one who takes shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, this Bhavsagar becomes how big? As big as puddle, puddle of water left in an impression made by cows, not even cows, calves hoof print. Like calves are very small, their hoofs are very small, about inch and a half diameter. And when they're jumping around, they leave some impression in the ground, and the water gets caught in that impression. So inch and a half, 1.5 inches. How big is that puddle? So it is said that the Bhavsagar, for the devotees, it becomes as big as that puddle of water. So devotees can easily cross it. What's the big deal? So this is the advantage of taking shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Prithu Maharaj is therefore advised to take the boat of the lotus feet of the Lord to easily cross over all dangers. Dangerous elements in the universe are compared to sharks in the ocean. Even though one may be a very expert swimmer, he cannot possibly survive if he is attacked by the sharks. One often sees that many so-called swamis and yogis sometimes advertise themselves as competent to cross the ocean of nescience and to help others cross. But in actuality, they are found to be simply victims of their own senses. Instead of helping their followers to cross the ocean of nescience, such swamis and yogis fall prey to Maya, represented by the fair sex, women, and others devoured by the sharks in that ocean. And the other sharks are, obviously, if you want to enjoy our senses, any sense can act as a shark and pull us down in this ocean. So best is to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, cling on to the lotus feet of the Lord. And the Lord, when He takes responsibility of delivering us, who can stop Him? In all other methods, we are trying to cross over the ocean based on our capabilities, our strengths. But in Bhakti Yoga, one is dependent upon the mercy of the Lord. The Lord will pick me up and take me out. So that's why devotional service is considered more potent, and one is certain to cross over the ocean. Text 41. Maitreya Vacha Saivam Brahma Putrena Kumarenatma Medasa Darshitatma Gati Samyak Prashyasyo Vachitam Nripaha. The great sage Maitreya continued, being thus enlightened in complete spiritual knowledge by the son of Brahma, one of the Kumaras who was complete in spiritual knowledge, the king worshipped him in the following words. In this verse, the word Atma Medasa is commented upon by Srimad Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who says that Atmani means unto Lord Krishna, Paramatmani. Lord Krishna is Paramatma, Ishvara Paramaha Krishna. Therefore, one whose mind is acting fully in Krishna consciousness is called Atma Medha. This may be contrasted to the word Grihimedhi, which refers to one whose brain is always engrossed with thoughts of material activities. The Atma Medha is always thinking of Krishna's activities and Krishna consciousness. Since Sanat Kumar, who was a son of Lord Brahma, was fully Krishna conscious, he could point out the path of spiritual advancement. The word Atma Gati refers to that path of activities by which one can make progress in understanding Krishna. So Atma Medha, Atma Gati, so it's a great sage Maitreya saying, so one of Kumaras was complete in spiritual knowledge. So it means Sanat Kumar, So he was complete. He had all the knowledge. Four Kumaras are the Mahajans, one of the Mahajans, the spiritual authorities. So king worshipped them in the following words. So first he had welcomed them, and that time also he glorified them. And then he asked questions, and Sanat Kumar answered all the questions, ending with devotional service, that this is the supreme, just take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. And now Maharaj Prithu is again going to glorify the four Kumaras. Raja Uvacha Krito me anugraha purvam harinartha anukampina tamapadayitum brahman bhagwan yuyam agataha. The king said, O Brahman, O powerful one, formerly Lord Vishnu showed me his causeless mercy, indicating that you would come to my house, and to confirm that blessing, you all have come. When Lord Vishnu appeared in the great arena of sacrifice at the time when King Prithu was performing a great sacrifice, Ashwamedh, he predicted that the Kumaras would very soon come and advise the king. Therefore, Prithu Maharaj remembered the causeless mercy of the Lord and thus welcomed the arrival of the Kumaras, who were fulfilling the Lord's prediction. In other words, when the Lord makes a prediction, he fulfills that prediction through some of his devotees. Similarly, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu predicted that both his glorious names and Hare Krishna Mahamantra would be broadcast in all the towns and villages of the world. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada desire to fulfill this great prediction, and we are following in their footsteps. So Prabhupada connected the two. So Lord Vishnu had told Prithu Maharaj that four Kumaras will come and you will meet them and you will get their mercy. So similarly, Prabhupada is saying, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had said, Prithvi te acha yad nagar adigram sarvatra prachar hoive maranam. So in every town and village of this world, my name will be sung and chanted. So one can say, okay, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that, so definitely it will come to be, it will be true. So that's okay. But Srila Prabhupada and all the previous Acharya, Prabhupada is giving credit to Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they desire to fulfill this great prediction. And Prabhupada says, and we are just following in their footsteps. Of course, the work that Prabhupada has done, nobody did that before. So Prabhupada really took that mood and mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu seriously and started this movement all over the world. And it is growing. So we can put in our contribution to whatever extent we can. In fact, we should do more than what we can. Just put in our contribution of taking his name to every town and village. So we cannot take it to every town and village like Prabhupada did. At least we can take it to our neighborhood. At least introduce people in our neighborhood only, in our society or in our whatever, on the street that we live in. Just introduce them to Harinam. It will be beneficial for them, and we will be helping Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in fulfilling his prediction. So how merciful then he would be upon us. Regarding his devotees, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Kaunteya pratijanihi name bhakta pranashyati. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee will never perish. The point is that the Lord himself could declare such things. But it was his desire to make the declaration through Arjuna, and thus doubly assured that his promise would never be broken. The Lord himself promises, and his confidential devotees execute the promise. The Lord makes so many promises for the benefit of suffering humanity. Although the Lord is very compassionate upon suffering humanity, human beings are generally not very anxious to serve Him. The relationship is something like that between the Father and the Son. The Father is always anxious for the welfare of the Son, even though the Son forgets or neglects the Father. The word anukampina is significant. The Lord is so compassionate upon the living entities that He comes Himself into this world in order to benefit fallen souls. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna had told Arjuna that you declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. There was a reason that Krishna would never break the words or the promises made by his devotees. He will always try to keep those promises. His own words he can let go. His promises he can break himself. Just like he took the vow that in this battle of Mahabharata he would not pick up weapon. But he broke his own word when Bhishma Pitama made him pick up the weapon. Otherwise, Bhishma Pitama had said, I will kill Arjuna. Either Krishna has to break his promise, pick up his weapon and try to kill me, otherwise I'll kill Arjuna. So Krishna had to break his promise, but he never ever lets the word of his devotees down. So this is mercy, or this is how much he loves his devotees. And on the other hand, he is very compassionate upon suffering humanity. Not just humanity, every living entity who's suffering in the material world. And everybody is suffering. The Lord is very compassionate upon them. This is what he does. He says, whenever and wherever there is a decline in religious practice and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself. Why? To take people back home, back to Godhead, to tell them the real meaning of religion, and to establish religion, and to kill the miscreants, and to protect the devotees. This is his main purpose. Thus it is out of compassion that the Lord appears in his different forms. Lord Shri Krishna appeared on this planet out of compassion for fallen souls. Lord Buddha appeared out of compassion for the poor animals who were being killed by the demons. Lord Narasimha appeared out of compassion for Prahlad Maharaj. The conclusion is that the Lord is so compassionate upon the fallen souls within this material world that he comes himself or sends his devotees and his servants to fulfill his desire to have all the fallen souls come back home, back to Godhead. So sometimes he comes himself, or sometimes sends his devotees and his servants to reclaim all the fallen souls. So this is why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's prediction that every town and village my name will be chanted and the glories will be sung, so that people get a chance all over the world to chant the names of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the most merciful incarnation, and by chanting the names of Gauranga, one easily and very fast develops love for Krishna. He gets purified very fast, faster than by chanting Krishna's name. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself said, chant Hare Krishna, so we chant Hare Krishna to please him. So intelligent men should therefore seriously consider this Krishna consciousness movement and fully utilize the instructions of Bhagavad Gita as preached without adulteration by his pure devotees, and just imbibe those teachings of Bhagavad Gita, and then taking shelter of Lord's lotus feet, he will take us through this Bhavsagar. Nishpadishtascha karchnena bhagvat bhir ghrinalubhi sadhu chishtam hime sarvam atmana sahakim dade. My dear Brahman, you have carried out the order thoroughly because you are also as compassionate as the Lord. It is my duty, therefore, to offer you something, but all I possess are but remnants of food taken by great saintly persons. What shall I give? The word sadhu chishtam is significant in this verse. Prithu Maharaj got his kingdom from great saintly persons like Bhrigu and others, just as one gets remnants of food. How? Because those Brahmins had killed Vena, Prithu Maharaj's father. So if he was killed by the Brahmins, actually the whole kingdom belonged to the Brahmins. They didn't want it, they didn't need it, they had no claim over it, but actually it belonged to them. After the death of King Vena, the whole world was bereft of a popular ruler. There were so many catastrophes occurring that the great saintly persons, headed by Bhrigu, created the body of King Prithu out of the body of his dead father, King Vena. Since King Prithu was thus offered the kingdom by the virtue of the mercy of great saintly persons, he did not want to divide his kingdom among saints like the Kumaras. When a father is eating food, he may, out of compassion, offer the remnants of his food to his son. Although such food may be already chewed by the father, it cannot be offered to the father again. Prithu Maharaj's position was something like this. Whatever he possessed had already been chewed, and therefore he could not offer it to the Kumaras. So already been chewed means it already belonged to the Brahmins, and he could not just offer it back to the Brahmins. Indirectly, however, he offered everything he possessed to Kumaras, and consequently they utilized these possessions in whatever way they liked. The next verse clarifies this matter. So he wanted to give an offering to the Brahmins, but he didn't know what to do. Prana dara sutta brahman grihascha sarparichada rajyam balam mahikosha iti sarvam niveditam. The king continued, therefore, my dear Brahmins, my life, wife, children, home, furniture and household paraphernalia, my kingdom, strength, land, and especially my treasury are all offered unto you. In the same reading, the word dara is not used, but the word used then is raya in some readings, okay, which means wealth. In India, there are still wealthy persons who are recognized by the state as Rai. A great devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was called Ramanand Rai because he was governor of Madras and very rich. There are still many holders of the title Rai, Rai Bahadur, Rai Chaudhary, and so on. The dara or wife is not permitted to be offered to the Brahmins. Everything is offered to worthy persons who are able to accept charity, but nowhere it is found that one offers his wife. Therefore, in this case, the reading Raya is more accurate than Dara. In this reading means there could be different copies of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course, Prabhupada used this copy, which predecessor acharyas had commented upon. So it could be, like we say, it could be a typo. Instead of Dara, it should be Raya. Prana, Raya, Sutta Brahman, and Raya means of wealth. So Prabhupada is just trying to clarify that one cannot offer his wife to the Brahmins. His children he can, but not wife. Although since Prithu Maharaj offered everything to the Kumaras, the word kosha, treasury, need not be separately mentioned. Kings and emperors used to keep a private treasury, which was known as Ratna Bhanda. The Ratna Bhanda was a special treasury room which contained special jewelries, such as bangles, necklaces, and so on, which were presented to the king by the citizens. This jewelry was kept separate from the regular treasury house where all the collected revenues were kept. Thus, Prithu Maharaj offered his stock of private jewelry to the lotus feet of the Kumaras. It has already been admitted that all the king's property belonged to the Brahman and that Prithu Maharaj was simply using it for the welfare of the state. If it were actually the property of the Brahmins, how could it be offered again to them? In this regard, Srila Shuddha Swami has explained that this offering is just like the servant's offering of food to his master. The food already belongs to the master, for the master has purchased it, but the servant, by preparing food, makes it acceptable to the master and thus offers it to him. In this way, everything belonging to Prithu Maharaj was offered to the Kumaras. So this is how magnanimous he was. He just offered everything to the Kumaras for the knowledge they had given him. So I know this is a wonderful story going on, but we have to stop here. See, anybody has any questions or comments? Okay, so we can stop here. You all have a wonderful and safe day. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada.